The inquiry is over. The report has been submitted to the Parliament. The government has studied it. They've made comments. They've spoken about how the institutions, the financial institutions, are going to suffer huge penalties. I have a slight problem with that. Those people who run those organisations, those people who run those institutions, they actually conspired to break the law. They made up some rules so that people would follow, so that it would be able to increase the profits of those institutions, so that they could receive multi-million-dollar increases and bonuses in their wage package. Why is not the head of these institutions now facing charges? Why are they not going to be hauled before the courts and charged with conspiracy to defraud the public? There are probably many other crimes which they have committed. I don't have the full details, but I do know they organised for themselves to, and the people, to actually take money from people for services they never ever gave them. They were billed, people were billed for things never delivered. How can that be okay? How can you then go and blame the institution on that? How did the NAB, the Commonwealth Bank, or any of those other organisations, how did those organisations make that decision of themselves? They could not. It took a human in charge of the organisation to set it up so that that was the general practice. I was aware that there was going to be some corruption right back in 1986 when I suggested an inquiry. I called for an inquiry into the financial institutions, because back then was the beginning of the commission in regard to the financial services, where the level of the commission was related to the extent of the money being generated. So hence, the greater the loan, the greater the commission given to the person who drew up the loan. These whole things were always designed to do the wrong thing, particularly when the government, after privatising the Commonwealth Bank, giving the industry the capacity to self-regulate. To give an industry the right to self-regulate, and then to put in a process where it can be looked at by a watchdog, which was a mate's watchdog, where all they did is they tried to, oh well, you shouldn't be doing this, instead of charging them for intentional, deliberate theft. That's exactly what they did. The intentional, deliberate theft of other people's property for their own material advantage, because the greater the profit, the greater the salary they were to get, all the bonuses. Now, some of these guys have left those positions. They didn't leave empty-handed. No, there was a golden handshake on the way out. I'm sorry, this is not good enough, and it doesn't cut ice with me. But I do know one particular thing. We have former members of different governments who are involved in the banking industry, in the financial industry. They themselves would know what's supposed to be happening and what isn't. But did they put their hand up and say, hey, no, we don't do that? No, they didn't. They made excuses for it, and in fact they discouraged an inquiry. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. We need to have more happen. We need to have these people pursued who stole and who conspired to steal, had their staff to go and do the hard yards of actually taking money from innocent people. There needs to be more. I will fight for that. I am Milton Kane for the Christian Democratic Party. Thank you.